Hey y'all, welcome back to EagleX TCG, and we're coming at you with another bit of Gundam card game gameplay. Now, a lot of you guys saw that I sleeved up White Red Seed, and you know what? Despite being a hater of the Seed series, I think that this deck was actually really fun to play. There are a lot of mechanics that I wasn't actually sure of that worked out way better on actual play than they did in testing and just on paper, and I was really excited to get down and just see what this deck could do. So yeah, it even gave me one of my favorite top decks in this game thus far since playing it, and you know what, I'll just put it up on the screen right now. Okay. Yall game, save me, justice! Alright, yeah, no, that literally just yeah, imagine that cinching your way into the finals. It was just, the energy was crazy. But that being said, I'm going to get into the gameplay with commentary momentarily. It will be the final round of this 5-round locals, myself on White Red Seed versus my opponent on Blue Red Ping Aggro. And as per usual, this video gets over 200 likes, the deck profile goes right on this page. Until then, it'll just be on my Patreon on different tiers depending on how in-depth you want to get into the breakdown. And then yeah, that's pretty much that. So like the video if you want to support the channel and see the deck list sooner than later, and then on top of that, subscribe if you want to help this channel get to over 10,000 subs and never miss a beat on Gundam card game content. Okay, let's hop into it. All right, so this is gonna be a classic defensive control deck versus an aggressive deck that actually has a bit of control itself. Now I'm putting back my first hand because there's no way I can keep double justice, freedom, and double overflowing affection against what I know to be an aggressive deck. We've been playing next to each other for most of this locals, and so we pretty much understand what the other's deck is supposed to do. On his end, he's probably gonna be looking for a fairly aggressive hand because with most cases of this deck, there's no high maneuver in it, and high HP blockers can really wall you out of the game. So he needs to do a lot of work in the early to mid game to make sure that I'm on death's door, barely surviving by the time I get to what should be some of the strongest cards in my deck. So we're going over, he's going to give me a mad wicked cut. I do know this gentleman. We go to 2 of the same locals out of, I think, the 4 I go to. And he cheekily shows me my 1 card before putting it at the bottom. Don't do that at a tournament. Somebody will actually just call a judge on you, but it's funny here. We're all friendly. Put a Gundam Aegis MA form to the bottom of my deck if possible. Now, I think I saw in his hand there was a Merida and a show of Resolve, I think. There'll be some other chances to show some things. But we get started. Fist bump of super... What is it? Competitive sportsmanship? There we go, sportsmanship. All right, and he starts off and ends his turn as he can play neither of his GM or his other 1-drop Zaku Mariner. I also put a resource and pass. He starts off with the gem, passes it back. You know, the first little footsie turns of Gundam. Now that I have 2, I decided that I do need to put a body down the board pretty early, so I end up playing out Strike Rouge, and then I pass. Getting his 3rd resource, he just needs to check what Strike Rouge does, see if it has blocker. It does not have blocker. Normally I wouldn't want to play it out this early, but I need to put a body on the board that can at least take out one of his bodies, because a lot of my early game will be simply surviving. So he's gonna tap 2 to play the Rizel, and then after playing the Rizel, he's going to actually tap 1 to play Vesalius, give the effect of it to the GM, making it a 3 so that it can one-shot my EX base and passing. Classic standard tempo from the Blue Red Ping Aggro player. So now that I'm at 3 resources plus the EX resources, I'm trying to think of my what I should do here, because I have the ability. I no longer even am worrying about the EX base. He's already gotten rid of it. So the Strike Rouge could either stay up or I can get rid of the GM. Now it's not going to be hard for him to start putting on pressure, so very likely it's going to go into the GM. I just need to actually decide what's going on. I can see in the hand that I have 2 Ale Strikes, or sorry, not Ale Strikes, 2 Strike Gundams, the ones that draw and discard, and then I also have an Archangel, which probably shouldn't come out yet because he's very close to, if I play out Archangel, he can just use the Vesalius to give Rizel another AP and then destroy it. So I'm going to play Striker Pack to make a blocker, and what I'm going to do here is actually make the 4-2. And the reason why I'm going with Sword Strike to make the 4-2 is that in this early in the game, there's no way he can get that out off the field unless he plays close combat, which is a very fringe tech in this deck when you have so much deal 1 damage and then you know, just hit it up with Battle of Aces. So I'm gonna swing the Strike Rouge into the gym to get it off the board, and then leave the Sword Strike on the board to pretty much check the result. Understanding this is here, he doesn't even bother giving it the AP. He just swings in it, knowing that I'm probably gonna just take the block, and then he's gonna use Show of Resolve to refuel his hand. Hand very, very strong. I see another. I see Zaku Mariner. I see Amuro. There might be another Vesalius in there. His hand is just very, very strong, and the oppression or the pressure is not nearly over. So now I'm going to tap 4 and end up playing out Ale Strike Gundam. Then I'm going to burn my EX resource to pair it with Kira, which is a link. The effect of Ale Strike is going to bounce Zaku Mariner back to hand, and then I'm going to swing into Vesalius to clear off the board. This way, he can't swing with it next turn, so it pretty much like gets rid of the fact that I don't have a blocker out. It is open to things like Gundam. It is open to things like Kshatriya. And right here, he plays out Gundam, links it with Amuro, and then ends up playing out his gym again, and swings into my Ale Strike to trade. We are going band for band in terms of bodies and resources, and this is generally the way it has to be, except the fact that he has Show of Resolve means that his longevity is probably going to be a lot stronger than mine. So I'll play out the Ilfrith, and the Ilfrith essentially checks his gem, and then I'm going to pay 1 to play out Archangel to get a base down to make sure he really can't pierce through. Then I'm gonna use my last 2 to play out Strike Gundam, drawing a card, and actually choosing to discard my other Strike Gundam since I drew into Overflowing Affection to hopefully dig even deeper into my deck. Alright, drawing, it looks like he got a second Marita off the top, and he's going to opt to play Corsica base in order to take a card from his life or his shields to his hand, and then play out a 4/2 Tall Geese token. Now at this point, attacking with the gym would be kind of rough, so he is going to play Zaku Mariner. He's going to play Anksha just to put the pressure back on, and then pass it back to me. So now I'm back in a risky predicament. He's got a lot of bodies on board and I have to figure that out. So I'm going to start off my turn using Overflowing Affection to see if I can find any more answers. I'm at a correct little stage of resources where I can get away with that and still make my most powerful plays. We're going to drop Strike Rouge because I'm not in the position to play blockers and then start swinging with them right now. I actually just need to make sure I don't get killed. Taking a bit of time to think about this because this is going to be a crucial play. I'm actually going to put 3 damage on Corsica base just to make sure that's there and give him something to attack the following turn. If he chooses to put a body into strike, he's probably going to lose said body, and I'm okay with that. Either way, it's a pretty safe attack. There's no real reason to leave him up. Then I'm going to actually play out another Ilfrith. Now at this very moment, I was very tempted to swing with my own Ilfrith. The other Ilfrith is on the turn, then use Archangel to stand it back up. That would get rid of Corsica base and then stand the blocker. But thinking about it, I'm like, I need to have a crackback turn next turn that's worth something. So instead of swinging with Ilfrith and then using 2 resources to put it back up, I'm thinking I'm opting to play Sword Strike instead. Adding another body on board, pretty much daring him to turn things sideways. I have 2 Ilfrith blockers, and I'm going to be able to swing in and pretty much clap up the rest of the board when it comes to the attackers I have on board. So he draws nothing to really move with the pilots yet. Had a little trouble getting those off the board. The hand is strong on his side, though. It really is. Okay, so now he's doing some thinking because he's got to navigate around 2 blockers, and he knows that when he passes turn, if he doesn't play this turn out right, I'm going to be able to clean up most of his board, and then we'll go back to square one, except I have more life, or I have more shields, and I have a base out as well as he does. So it's kind of just this weird tiptoe of advantage, and neither player right now is ahead. So he's going to give a swing onto Strike Gundam, and I know that if he swings a Strike Gundam, the gun cannon or another gun tank or another Anksha is probably coming down with it. So I actually opt to block with Ilfrith now taking 2 damage and not allowing it to be one-tapped by Gun Tank or Angsha. But it also opens up the ability for him to swing something into Ilfrith, losing it unless it's Angsha. So this time he's going to swing into Strike, and I'm going to let that happen, letting him get rid of his Zaku Mariner, and then, like I said, he plays out the Ping 1, which was expected, and that gets rid of Ale. But now I've taken out 2 of his bodies, and he's replenished 1 of them. It's this sort of stuff that I love when it comes to decks with blockers that actually can kill on the defense, because it really forces you to go in from here. He's going to play out a Vesalius right here and actually get in another draw from his shields, and then swing in with the Tall Geese, which I'm going to take off the board with my Ilfrith, and then he gets 1 swing just to put some damage on the base right here, the Archangel. He still has a little bit of stuff to play out, so he's going to play out a 3rd Angsha, and then he's going to ping me for another one, and he's going to play out a Gem, and this is the point where he pretty much just passes over. It being my turn now, I have a lot of choices to make. We're going to have to get rid of the Angsha, but he also still has the Gem as well. This is a very, very precarious position because he definitely did all the trades correctly, as I think I did as well. However, he has pretty much reestablished the board, and this is going to make this a little rough to contend with. Now, even though I have a superiority in terms of shields, I think this really is a point where I am kind of on the back foot. I count his trash real quick just to see how close he is to 12 before deciding to make my bid here, trading with the Angsha right there just to get it off the board, then playing 4 for Ale Strike before playing a Aegis Gundam mobile armor mode, and then passing. Because this Ilfrith is inactive, unless he plays a Merida Link, it's going to stay alive. So I have to just kind of bank on him not having Merida Link. I do see in his hand he has double Merida and Angsha, or sorry, double Merida and Banshee. I did count that he had 9, I think, in hand before I started going in. So I think right now he is currently at 11 cards. So thinking about this, I'm actually going to give him the 12th card. And he was asking me why did I give that to him. Now this is a little risky because I'm going to lose Ale Strike and he's not even going to have to attack into it. But I didn't want my base quite going yet. He has a fair amount of attacks on board. He gets rid of that base with the Angsha and then swings in and activates Banshee's effect. Now, hear me out. This is a point of conjecture. Now, I did get a base out of life, and that is pretty nice. Just getting that extra base. Now, the point of conjecture here is whether or not it would have been just better to let him swing and let that attack connect so that he couldn't Banshee me this turn. However, I do think that it's like I either let everything crash and open myself up to a particularly more damning Banshee attack, or I just let it happen then, knowing that I can kill the Banshee the following turn and attempt to keep pushing through. Now, this is the one judgment part. You guys can tell me in the comments whether you think it was an okay move to block and give him the Banshee at that point, or whether or not I should have just let it go through in my life. Expecting the Banshee and seeing how high his hand was, I just didn't want to take all that damage and then potentially not being able to clear his field later and then just getting folded. So I opted to save more of my shields. Now, getting up into here, I was hoping that I had an Atherin link because I really would have been able to, like to start swinging and hitting Breach. However, we will just swing on the Angsha. And I already had a damage in me from Banshee's second attack, so that was a trade. Would have liked to keep that alive by being able to swing at GM instead, but sometimes it just doesn't work out the way we wanted to. So I'll play out Freedom, and then I will link Freedom with Kira, and that'll allow me to -2 on Banshee. And then when I swing, Kira's effect will allow me to -2 on Banshee again for the AP, making Banshee a 3 AP unit. And then it's going to get ran over by my, at this point, 6 AP. Then I'm going to play Striker back. This time opting to make the 2/4 token because it is going to be what walls the GM while still staying alive. Then passing with 1 card in hand. This is where I gas out. And he has 3 cards in hand. So he's actually close to gassing out too. Playing out the gun cannon and then linking with Amuro. He's actually going to have a 4 AP unit, so he's going to swing into Freedom for the trade. Really feels bad for me, but you know what? It's just what had to happen. Then he's gonna send the GM into my shields, taking away a Hawk of Endymion, which would have been a really nice card to have, but you know, we ball. And then I'm going to draw, seeing I believe a close combat. I believe my hand is like Striker Pack. It might be, I think it's like, what is it, Freedom? It might be Freedom, but I think I just drew Atherin. I might have just drawn Atherin. I turned too late per se, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I'm gonna play out the Freedom and I'm gonna pass. At this point, he does have I got rid of his base. It needed to go, so we could not keep using it, but he top decks the Show of Resolve, and this is where really blue helps so much in the matchup, because that Show of Resolve is just a hard +1. He's going to play the Rizal. Then he's going to end up playing the gun tank and pinging my blocker for 1, my token blocker. And then he's gonna pass because I have Freedom there and he can't really get past it. So I'm gonna draw. I believe this is the close combat now. So I have close combat and Striker Pack. Striker Pack can't move because I have a blocker on the board, and this is where things kind of get a little rough. So he's gonna play out Corsica base, and at first, yeah, getting a card from his shields. At first, I think he was thinking about playing out the 2 tokens, but I had to remind him that he shuffled in everything to play out Banshee. So this would be a straight up Tall Geese token creation for the 4/2. I think it's a little risky because you don't know what could come out of my life. I know he wanted to draw, but yeah, he's gonna pair Amuro with the Rizal, and that's going to allow a huge swing. It really sucks. So I'm going to block gun tank with Freedom, and this is going to allow him to sneak past me with a singular damage, or so he thought, because I played close combat in order to get rid of the GM before it could hit my shields. And this is gonna have him thinking whether or not he should swing into my life or my shields, or whether he should attack into my Freedom, because he is a 6 AP card right now. 1 card in hand, and it being Merida. He's honestly thinking through his plays, because we both don't really have a lot of gas right now. So he's gonna swing at Freedom to get rid of it, trading. And then I'm going to untap. Currently, my blocker checks his Tall Geese. I think I just drew into a second close combat, which feels actually horrendous at this point. Yeah. I mean, it's actually, it serves its purpose, but it does feel horrendous. I was thinking about getting some damage on his base, but I just decided against it. I'm just gonna wait. So now he's going to end up swinging at this, and I'm going to block here because I really want to be able to get my Striker Pack online. Then he's going to play out Gundam, and I really wish it was any other card but that, but it is what it is. So we just got Akira. I'm going to activate Striker Pack, and this time I'm going to make the 4/2 token again, Sword Strike, because Sword Strike is going to it's going to check his Amuro. Or not his Amuro, it's going to check his Gundam. So he draws, and this is like the stalemate of top decking. He's going to play out his Angsha, and he's not going to swing with his Gundam because he does not want it to get blocked and killed by the Sword Strike. I'm going to draw into, I think, a Freedom? Yeah. Trying to count one more time. He's getting the count. Let's make sure. Okay, that's an ale. All right, cool. So at this point, I know that my clock is winding down, and I can't let him just set up behind some of these things. So I'm going to activate Kira, play out Ale Strike, play out Kira, link it, bounce the Gundam back, and then I'm going to one-shot his base. This leaves it open to be attacked by Angsha, but I do still have the Sword Strike. He's going to play out Zaku Mariner, and he's going to play out the Gundam. Swinging Angsha into my life zone. I'm gonna take it. Wait a second. Hold up. That's a bit of a mistake. Did anybody catch that? Hold on. See, this is a mistake on my part. See, all right. So this is like literally what happens when you play too many card games. And this is why both players always need to be paying attention, because I didn't even realize that until I got to this point of recording the video. That kind of null and voids pretty much the rest of this, but I play out the illegal Sword Strike Gundam, like, and yeah, that's kind of rough. Now, granted, he has this regardless. You're gonna see why because of this, but he's gonna actually play out the Kshatriya, and he's going to end out playing out Marita, which was the card in his hand for the longest time for the Link. It's gonna deal 1 damage to the Sword Strike blocker and the Ale. And then when he swings, he's going to kill the Sword Strike, allowing him to get 2 swings. And unless I have a base in life, it's just going to be the end of the game. And it's overflowing, and there we go. All right, and that was what we call the big oopsie towards the end. I'm sorry I took the life. I'm used to playing like Dragon Ball, where that always goes to your hand and whatnot. So that was a bit of a mistake. However, at the same time, you guys got to see the back and forth of it. It was a nail biter. We were both top decking, and at the end, he was just pretty much looking for something to pair with Marita to pretty much go back in and close out the game. So it was kind of a matter of time, especially with cards like Show of Resolve still in the deck. I thought that was a really, really cool game, though. I was happy to take White Red to the top. I have more games if you guys want to see it versus other matchups. Just let me know in the comments, and I can see about weaving that back in. And then on top of that, just want to say that, yeah, you get this video to 200 likes or higher, the deck list and deck profile go out on the channel. Until then, they will both be on the Patreon for different tiers and whatnot, and as well as the Patreon section of the Discord. Past that, you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers and never miss a beat on the Gundam card game content, just hit that subscribe button and make sure your notifications are on. And last but not least, if you want to check out the links in the description, I got my sponsors, I got the Discord, I have my second channel, EagleX, where I do all the nerdy things that I cannot do on a TCG channel, such as talk about manga, anime, their games and whatnot, stream, and pretty much that is it. So thank you guys for being here, and I want to give a quick shout out. We have a couple people joining the tiers for here, so I just wanted to say a special shout out to a Darren S for joining the Denizens of Universe X tier, as well as a Pedro S for joining the Galactic Patrol tier. Thank you guys. I will be pumping out way more content both here and on the Patreon for the Gundam card game, and so I'll try to make it worth your while. No Anthony Hernandez. Yeah. Anywho, deep cut, if you know what that joke is. But yeah, I will see you guys later. Thank you.